So I have had suggested to me to think about or consider, since have never been the biggest on how expensive things are in this area anyway, and I like travel, I like other places, I'm open to other cultures, to perhaps move somewhere else to get tax breaks and financially have a more stable situation. People, once you get to a certain degree of stability, it can get suggested to you to just move, or even part of the year reside in another country so that you can establish dual citizenship. You can get other residency where your taxes are way lower part of the year, and it can work out. Now, income tax, even if you earn it in another country, if you keep your American citizenship, they want their cut. Just letting you know, doesn't matter where you go, if you keep American citizenship, even if it's a dual citizenship, they want their cut of income tax. But there are countries out there that are very kind when it comes to taxing your income in the first place, or what kind of businesses get taxed. And some of those countries are often suggested over and over and over again. I have seen them listed on repeat. So some of the countries that have nicer tax laws, especially for US citizens, are places like, if you want a more tropical or sunny climate, places like Thailand, Malaysia, Colombia, Mexico, Portugal. If you want a more northern feeling climate, you can go to somewhere like Ireland, but most people are looking for a sunnier climate. Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, stuff like that. But the tax relief, the tax break, also can sometimes not even be the main point. Some of these places, it's the cost of living. Now, for United States citizens, some people go to Belize if they're a little older, and some younger people want to go to Dubai. But Dubai is actually a little better for like UK citizens than people from the USA. But, if you're into that scene and all of that, then by all means go to Dubai. But basically, people are looking to get away from the political division and bullcrap going on with all that kind of stuff that's going on in the United States. They're looking to get away from the inflation, and the inflation is everywhere, but some places the cost of living is lower, so the inflation feels less bad. Some people want to go just to change up their lifestyle. They love travel, they love other cultures, but it's usually financial reasons is one of the biggest reasons. So if people have a remote job, sometimes they'll move somewhere else and do that remote job with a lower cost of living and easier taxes. And that's their choice. That's fine. I don't know that I'm ready for that kind of a thing. I don't earn enough, I don't feel like, to be comfortable where I would actually want to live. Like, technically, you don't have to have that much money to be decently comfortable in a really low cost of living place, like, again, Mexico, Colombia, Thailand, Malaysia. There's definitely options. But for people who are looking more at the European Union, Ireland, Portugal, Spain, there are countries that are a little nicer to US citizens. The tax breaks don't make up for the change in cost of living that much. The cost of living is not really that different. Now, there are a couple of things that the cost of living really seems to be noticeable for. One of the things that you're really going to notice almost anywhere that you move to get away from the financial constrictions in the United States, you're going to find almost anywhere, healthcare costs are insane compared to the United States. Anywhere else, it's like crazy sauce how cheap it is. Even if you pay out of pocket in South America or even in Europe, you're paying for your own private health care instead of paying taxes toward that country, and universal healthcare, it's still ridiculously cheaper, like astronomically cheaper. There is a reason that medical tourism is a thing. The United States has the highest costs in the world for healthcare. And if you have a lot of healthcare costs, or perceive that, as you get older, you might have a lot of healthcare costs, moving away from the United States is just a massive, massive savings. The other thing that can be really nice in almost any country that you go to anywhere in the world, except maybe Iceland, because they have to import all of it there, but it's restaurant food. Going to a restaurant here, like say you went out for breakfast, okay? You go out for breakfast here and you're getting like bacon and eggs with one other person, and the two of you together are having your meal. You get some drink to go with it, like a coffee or, hot chocolate or whatever. You have your breakfast, you tip. By the time you're done, it's like $40 for two people. Go to, say, Spain, for instance. Breakfast like that is going to be like $2 or $3 per person. Like, it's done. Tipping is huge in the United States, but almost everywhere else, it's not even a thing. People get paid a livable wage. In the United States, the extra costs on food are very inflated in ways that they shouldn't be. And so restaurant eating at a lot of other countries is just going to be cheaper outright. So if you like doing those things, it could be nice. As far as rent goes, some places, land ownership, property ownership, and renting, definitely going to be cheaper. There is a huge quantity of countries where that's true. But if you want to be in a lot of the more modern, high-end countries where they have a pretty big growing economy, it's probably going to be decently on par with what's going on in the United States. You're not going to really be able to expect that much of a discount. And in some certain places, like for instance, if I moved right now to say London, it's going to be more expensive for less space. So it depends on where you're going. Japan, for instance, you're probably going to pay more for less space. But there are a bunch of countries where, yeah, housing is definitely cheaper, food could be cheaper, and taxes could be cheaper, so your cost of living overall could be cheaper. Put some solar or some sustainable energy on that building, and your energy costs and your bills are almost nothing. Your public transport infrastructure is just way, way better than the United States. Almost any country you go to, if it's got any kind of a flourishing economy in any way, shape, or form, almost anywhere in Europe, most places in Asia, like, you're gonna find a way better public transport infrastructure, which means you probably won't actually need to own a car if you live in a city, which means a huge savings in and of itself. If you're working remotely, there's definitely options around the world for not that bad of a struggle. A lot of countries, if you invest into a business or if you invest into the country itself, you can actually purchase residency or you can purchase citizenship for a lot of countries, which means that you can really make it easy on yourself if you happen to have a lump sum already saved up. It's also not that hard to get jobs in other countries if you already are an educated teacher, nurse, doctor, anything in the healing or education fields, they love. If you want to go there and teach like kids to read or English, teach another language to kids, oh my gosh, they want you. So yeah, it's definitely an option, and it's been brought up to me, and it's not that I'm not considering it, it's just probably not right now. Right now, I have other things to focus on, and quite frankly, I have a lot of family, and I'm not sure how much I would want to travel back and forth to hang out with my family, so there is that as well. But yeah, it is definitely a very financially sound decision for a lot of people. especially if they are not the poorest of the poor. If you can afford it, man, there are some very cheap options in other parts of the world where you could live at a higher quality than you do now, or less than it costs now in the United States. And again, if you have healthcare issues, it can be astronomical, the difference in cost from how expensive it is in the United States to how cheap it is in another country.